The affordable watch market has grown exponentially during last years, offering great value on one side of the spectrum and dubious dots on the other. But from all this conglomeration, one brand has grown from strength to strength in the last years like no other, and that brand is Timex. And yet, less than 10 years ago, the brand was on the verge of creative collapse, relegated to cheap shopping mall alternatives. How did the brand manage to turn things around so dramatically? The answer with 4 recent released models that show that Timex is now the absolute king of affordable watches. To understand what happened, let's have a look back at 2017. At this time, Timex was known for its really basic entry-level watches, such lines as the Weekender, the Expedition, and the Ironman. Good watches, yet very basic ones. But that changed in 2017 with the arrival of the Martin, a reissue, yet a mechanical one. After decades of relying on quartz technology, the brand was re-embracing its mechanical roots. This opened the floodgates to the Q series, a slew of revival models with different degrees of quality and success, but definitely a step in the right direction. But it's in the last couple of years that we have seen an ever-increasing amount of models that have really impressed us watch lovers. And to illustrate my point, I wanted to focus on 4 new releases, a diver, a chrono, a GMT, and an explorer watch that for me represent the best that Timex is doing right now. And let's start strong with the Timex Expedition GMT Titanium. This beautiful watch's most distinctive feature, its case, is made out of titanium. Its angular tonal shape is somewhat refreshing in a world of very similar case designs. Its wearable dimensions of 41mm by 13.3 in height and log-to-log of 48 make it wearable on any mid to large sized wrists. The matte black dial is, some would argue, a little bit derivative from the Rolex Explorer, but even that is not really that obvious, and it blends beautifully with the overall design. The titanium bezel insert is a 220-click bidirectional, an unusual number simply derived from a diver watch. The movement is a Seiko NH34, and here for the price point of 600 euros, I would have preferred a Miyota 9075 True GMT. However, on the positive notes, the crystal is sapphire, and to water resistance is 200 meters, which is unusual for this type of watch, and a very welcome surprise. In the end, this is a very strong first watch, but wait, it gets even better. Because the brand have just released a beautiful chrono, the Waterbury Heritage. This one comes in 2 flavors, a panda and a black gold, both of which are absolutely beautiful and hide an incredible trick up their sleeves that you weren't expecting for a watch at this price point, but more on that later. Although you may argue that especially the Panda is in the vein of other watches that came before it, like the Rolex Daytona and especially the Tudor Black Bay Chrono with that compact layout, it is nonetheless its own thing. Those applied metallic baton indexes are loomed on the tips, that lance-shaped chronograph and those crowd-pleasing dimensions of 39mm in diameter by only 46.5mm in log-to-log give it very much its own identity. But the thing that really shines here is the bracelet. You have these easy removable links which are really easy to use and actually a blessing when you're sizing your bracelet. The thing to regret is the fact that those screw-down pushers are actually fake, and I really don't think that all those lines of text in the bottom of the dial are needed. Inside you have a Seiko Mega Quartz VK63, which is perfectly adequate at this price point of around 250 to 320 euros, depending on where you're purchasing them from. The pricing might seem a bit steep, but it's equivalent with microbrands with this movement and quality, which are retailing for around the same price. Next in line is the Diver, and here Timex does not disappoint with the Deepwater Reef 200 titanium. Yes, a titanium again. Its 31mm frame and its name indicate that it is made out of titanium, and although the design might appear a little simple, it is actually okay for a robust tool watch. It's in the dial that this one is interesting, with that matte dial and applied superluminova indices. Notice the application here, really tall without any frames, harkening back to the diver watches of old. Although the indices are not that original, the hands are really unique. I can only describe them as partially skeletonized, elongated trapezoids. Try and get that concept around your head. The bezel is a classic 120 click, and its insert is made out of aluminum. The thing that holds the indices, the hands, and the bezel together is the generous application of superluminova lume, green in this case, and a delight to see, especially in the insert. Microbrands do that a lot, mainstream brands very much less so. What's more, you've got a sapphire crystal here, which many will not be very happy to see, has a cyclops. Another thing that may annoy some, especially this price point, is the use of the basic Miura 8215 movement, which for a watch at this price point may raise some eyebrows. The crown has one of the coolest features that I have seen, a simple turning red arrow which indicates a direction in which to screw down the crown. It may seem pretty obvious, but you wouldn't believe how many people damage their watches, exposing them to water with the crown unscrewed. All in all, this Reef 200 is a solid buy, but for the movement. I would have expected more at this price point, and we kind of see an emerging pattern from these otherwise outstanding watches. Amazing cool designs, cool use of materials, but somehow subpar movements. But don't despair, there's a quartz version of this watch with a wave dial and stainless steel case for less than half the price. The last watch that I wanted to talk to you about is the exploration watch or military watch, which is the Expedition North. Contrary to the very basic Expedition collection, this one differs as it's made out of titanium and has that same Miura 8215 automatic movement as the Reef, and believe it or not, it has the same 200-meter water resistance. The dial is in the classic military watch style with lume numerals and a grainy finish. At 12 you have the North logo, which is also lumed and that you can also find in the crown of the watch. Protecting the dial, you have a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. The case itself is pretty simple, again, as a tool watch should be, with a bead blasted finish, as a military explorer watch should be. When you flip the watch, you see the Miura movement through a transparent caseback, a feature that luckily doesn't add too much to the bulk of the watch, which is 12.5mm in thickness. Once again, a robust watch, and the releases from the brand don't stop here. I have seen many more in the last months that actually go very much in the right direction, and I am really excited to see where Timex go from here. But what do you think? Do you also think that from these latest releases Timex has become the king of affordable watches, or do you think that other brands such as Citizen, of course, which comes first to mind, and others have still their word to say? Do tell me so in the comment section of the video, and of course if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna leave you here with other great reviews that you might enjoy. Thank you very much, and I'll be seeing you really soon in those videos.